Just 2 nights ago, Pascal Siakam put up one of the worst performances of his career, shooting 2 for 14 against the Utah Jazz, but he followed up that performance just a day later with one of, if not the best performance of his career. So in today's video, we tell you why you're wrong about Pascal Siakam. Let's get into it. Welcome NBA and Raptors fans. This is Amateur Hour Sports, your source for everything Raptors related. We Raptors news coverage, game recaps, mock trade breakdowns, and so much more. So if you like the Toronto Raptors and you enjoy content in this video style, well, then you are going to love Amateur Hour Sports. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're on a road to 8,000 subscribers. And in return for helping me get there, you get 4+ videos a week, all concerning the Toronto Raptors. And today we've got ourselves a Pascal Siakam revenge game. Again, it was awful against the Utah Jazz 2 nights ago, but sometimes when you have a really bad game, that's like the only time where it's good to play on back-to-back nights. We usually hate the back-to-back nights, but when you have that really bad game, it's good to get it out of your system right away. You don't have a full couple of nights to kind of sit on it. Right after the game, you got to prepare and focus yourself for the next game. And that is what Pascal Siakam did exactly. Called it to a T in yesterday's video. I spent like 10 minutes preaching about how good Pascal Siakam, and this is just one bad performance on what has been a great season so far. And like he always does, he shows up and proves me right, because I will defend Pascal Siakam all the way to my grave, and he repays my faith with performances like this, because against the Kings last night, he put up 32 points, but that's not all. He shot 10 for 12 from the field, 3 for 3 from 3, and was getting to the line plenty. I mean, 32 points on 12 field goal attempts is just absolutely absurd. It is arguably the greatest performance of his entire NBA career statistically. He had a true shooting percentage of 97.6. This game only really parallels Game 1 of the NBA Finals in 2019, where he shot 14 for 17 from the field. But if you want to count the high-stakes situation, that game a little bit more impressive. But the fact that his field goal percentages, this may statistically be the best game of his career to date. And he follows up that 4-point performance against the Utah Jazz, where not everybody, but a lot of people were criticizing him, calling him out. In fact, a lot of you in this community are guilty of it. We got the receipts to show it. 50% of voters or thereabout believe that Pascal Siakam is the main reason for the Raptors' struggles over the last 7 games prior to the one against the Sacramento Kings. 50% of you guys are hating on Pascal Siakam. Not, well, half of you aren't, but half of you are indeed hating on this player, even though in his last 4 games, Pascal Siakam has had at least 20 points in 3 of them, and is also playing just great basketball this season. The 2 games, other than the Jazz game, he had 2 games where he did have 20 points, and those were the only games that he was on a minutes restriction. So when Pascal Siakam is off of that minutes restriction, well, you can expect him to put up 20 points, and he's going to average around 20 points per game again this season, just like last season, where he was also a really good player, but people did not give him enough credit. Well, I am always going to give Pascal Siakam the credit, because credit is very much due for this game. Does Siakam have bad games? Absolutely 100%. Yes, he does. Every player has bad games, but you don't need to fixate your microscope on Pascal Siakam every time he has a bad game. Well, now you're thinking, if you're a Siakam hater, well, it's only the Sacramento Kings. Well, I don't care if it's the Sacramento Kings. He did it against Detroit. He did it against Portland. He did it against the Sacramento Kings here, and he's going to continue to put up performances, maybe not this good, but because this was just absurd. But he's going to continue to put up great performances all throughout the rest of the season. Is it going to happen in every single game? No, it is not. Is he going to have a true shooting percentage above 90 in every single game? No, he is not. But this is just what Pascal Siakam can do. He was absolutely in his bag yesterday. People say Pascal Siakam has no bag. People say Siakam, he only has the spin move. Well, even if he does only have the spin move, guard it then, because so many players cannot guard the Pascal Siakam spin move. Yesterday, he was going to work. He was using the spin move on the interior. He was using the spin move to free up some mid-range shooting opportunities. He was on the catch and shoot at the elbow. He was shooting the 3 ball very well. Again, 3 for 3 from 3-point land in this game. He was getting to the rim. And I think most importantly out of all of this, he was drawing fouls and getting to the line and making those free throws. The referees were protecting him in this one a lot more than usual. He was getting his calls. He was being aggressive. When you're aggressive and you go to the rim and you're as talented as Pascal Siakam, good things are going to happen. And a lot of good things happened in this one. Early on in the game, like the first minute of the game, Pascal Siakam turned the ball over twice. And it was kind of like, oh boy, not again. But then he settled in. He had 13 points at the end of the quarter and just maintained that pace throughout the rest of the game. But what I've been critical the most about Pascal Siakam, I know he's got this offensive game. I know, like, it's not that surprising that, well, wait, Pascal Siakam's good on offense? We know this. You should know this, unless you're just a blind hater, which some of you may as well be. However, when it comes to the defensive end, that's where Siakam has kind of struggled this season. I think he's getting blown by a little bit too often, and the help defense and just the rotations haven't been great from Siakam. But against the Kings, my goodness, was Pascal Siakam great in his on-ball defensive sets and much improved in his defensive sets in terms of closing out on shooters. Again, I recognize it's the Sacramento Kings, but this is Pascal Siakam playing against an NBA team. An NBA team who coming into the game were 6-9. The Raptors were only 7-9. So very similar in terms of records in this one. This is also a Sacramento Kings team that had more wins than us last season. I understand. Look, granted, I understand it's the Kings, but it's an NBA team where Pascal Siakam went out and showed his stuff. And there are good players in the team. They have De'Aaron Fox, Halliburton, Harrison Barnes playing out of his mind this season. Rashawn Holmes, the guy that we wanted so bad on the team. There are still good players in this team where Pascal Siakam was able to show out. Did it on offense, but the defensive game is also much improved from him, as well as the rest of the team who we're going to touch on in a very brief moment. Siakam, the only real time I saw him get burned on the perimeter, I think Davion Mitchell just blew past him on the outside. I was like, that's a bad one from Siakam. And then he recovers for the chase down block. And he had 2 blocks in this game, actually. Even though he's a good defender, doesn't always get the shot blocks, but 2 blocks in this game to go along with an absolutely stellar stat line. But just like the losses aren't solely on Pascal Siakam, the wins aren't solely on Pascal Siakam as well. Was he a fat contributor to that win? Oh, 100%. But let's give credit to the rest of the team as well. Gary Trent Jr. continues to impress. Fred VanVleet, even though the box score didn't show it, was showing some great stuff from the point guard, like the great point guard stuff that he's developing over the course of this season. The playmaking, the ball handling, kind of being that court general we need. Kem Birch was excellent yet again. I mean, how good would the Raptors be if we had 2 Kem Birches for real? Masai, go get us a center, please. And I think the most important thing out of all this is that the bench actually contributed for us. Chris Boucher was much improved. In fact, he was great yesterday. So much better from Chris Boucher. Hopefully he can maintain this consistency. Achua was okay in his role. Mihailuk was improved compared to other games, as was Delano Banton. Very good from the bench. When the Raptors needed the bench to step up for them in the first quarter, they did that and laid the foundation for the starters to succeed for the rest of the game. The Raptors have now endured 3 different 3-game losing streaks this season that equate to all 9 of their losses so far this season. So what the Raptors need to begin to do is recovering from those losses a lot quicker. You don't want to have to go on that skid before you get a win. This is a good step in the right direction. Now, we have the Golden State Warriors on Sunday. That's the best defensive team in the NBA. That's the best team in the NBA, period. And they have the best player currently in the NBA in Steph Curry, just based off recent form. And it's going to be a tough game. Can Pascal Siakam produce 10 for 12 from the field against the Warriors? Probably not. Has he had favorable matchups and good performances against the Warriors in the past? Yes, he has, absolutely. But we can't overrate one good performance, just like we can't overrate one bad performance. Because Siakam, this was really good, but he's been really good over the last 4 games, other than the one against the Utah Jazz. Again, against the Detroit Pistons, 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists. That is absolutely sensational as well. He's been doing this. You guys just need to see it and allow him to keep doing this. And you wanted him to have a good game from the field. You wanted him to have a good game defensively. Well, he did that. So don't move the goalpost by saying, oh, it was only the Sacramento Kings. This is Pascal Siakam in his element, and you're going to see more and more of it as we progress through the season. Against the Warriors, that's going to be a really tough game, so don't overreact to a bad performance. But, if there's a good performance, you got to give Pascal Siakam his credit, again, without overreacting to just one single performance. The consistency is going to be key. Players have off nights. Siakam definitely has his off nights from now and then. I was very critical of his performance yesterday, but I recognized it was just one game that he could bounce back from, and my goodness, did he bounce back. So, Siakam, let's hope he continues to play like this. He's the best player on this team. We need him to continue to improve, to allow our team to improve, and I think he is going to do that. Instill your faith in this player, because he is good enough to make an all-star team. If he goes on a run, he goes on a run before the All-Star break, he is good enough to make an All-Star team, as is Fred VanVleet on this team. Trust the players that we have. Hopefully we can tinker around and bring in some other guys to help us, like a little bit of bench help and a center, but this is a good step in the right direction. Let's have a good performance with the Warriors and see what happens from there. So, are you a Pascal Siakam hater? Did you vote that Pascal Siakam has been the reason for the Raptors' struggles in this stretch here? I want to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because has your opinion changed? That is it from me for today, guys. Please give a like on the video if you did enjoy. Support the channel, and if you're still watching, you clearly enjoyed the video, and make sure you're subscribed to Amateur Sports to keep up to date with the 4+ videos a week, all concerning the Toronto Raptors, and you can help me get to 8,000 subscribers. Check out the other channels that we have. We got a vlog channel right here. I vlog stuff like going to Raptors 905 games and sometimes some Raptors games as well. And down here is the Clips channel, where we do a post-game show for every single Raptors game. Check it out, the one from last night against the Kings. I'll see you again next time for another video.